that leaky gut process. Now, a majority of your neurotransmitters are actually made within your gut. So if your gut is chronically inflamed, that can affect your neurotransmitters, which can affect things like seizures. Also, there's things like gliadin within that gluten that can be very inflammatory as well. So there's a lot of different factors that can play into that, but if gluten is causing your seizures, 100% eliminate. Needs to be out of your diet completely, 100%, probably for the rest of your life, but also we need to find out what else could be causing inflammation for you as well. Another thing that we do in our office is neurotransmitter testing as well, seeing where those are, but there's a huge correlation between epilepsy, seizures, as well as your gut, because there's a huge gut-brain connection that's going on. What's the best pre-probiotic? Great question. So first of all, it depends on if you need one. So I never recommend a probiotic if you haven't had a stool test. A stool test is going to show us how is your good bacteria. Is it overgrown? Is it undergrown? Taking that probiotic when it's already overgrown can cause more of an issue. You can have too much of a good thing. So I don't recommend that. For example, my oldest son, he was diagnosed with autism at 3 years of age. If you were to just go onto Google or drx.com or any of those holistic sites, what are you going to be told? Give your son a probiotic. It's going to help with his autism. Well, for him, when we actually tested his gut, his good bacteria were way too high, and they were causing issues for him. They were causing inflammation. And if I were to just willy-nilly give him a probiotic because it's good for autism, I'm making him sicker, because that's not what his body needs. We need to know, what is your body calling for? Now, we do have 2 different types of probiotics that we have in our office that we do recommend for our patients that have lower probiotics, lower good bacteria. So we have one that specifically has some good strains of bacteria that can help if you are very susceptible to yeast infections or have yeast in your gut. And then we have another one that is a more general probiotic. Both are great options. It just depends on what comes back on your stool test. Prebiotics. Prebiotics are the food that's going to feed your good bacteria, and butyrate is one of the most important ones. Now, where do you get that from? I recommend getting that from food. I don't recommend necessarily buying a supplement for that. We have a supplement called chicory root. It's literally just the food chicory root in a capsule that you can take, but you can get it from food. Onions, garlic, mushrooms, raw sauerkraut that's refrigerated, like Bubby's brand, or you can make it homemade. Leeks, asparagus, things like that. Those are going to help feed the good bacteria. All right, Lisa, they are non-epileptic seizures. Yep, so we need a bit more information to know where those are coming from, but the biggest thing is the fact that gluten is a trigger for those. It's likely that there's a huge gut-brain connection for this type of seizure that you or your loved one is experiencing. We'd love to help get you some more answers on that. So you guys, if you're on this live and you are enjoying this content and you want to be able to ask a question, not in the comments on TikTok, we would love to answer your questions. Go through the link in our bio, schedule a 10-minute phone call with myself or Dr. Jared or Dr. Jen. We can give you more personalized information and find out if the Wellness Way is a good fit for you. If you're ready to take your health back into your own hands, get comprehensive testing, get individualized care, and actually get those results, go through the link in our bio and sign up for that new patient appointment. Whether you are local to the Woodbury, Minnesota area, or you're located in California, Texas, New York, Florida, wherever you are in the United States, we can still see you via the phone as well and get you that care that you need. All right, you guys, let's see. I've got a few more questions here that keep coming in. Do you recommend food sensitivity tests? We do have a food allergy test that we run on the majority of our patients, because food is one of the first things that you can start to control in your life. It's the most controllable stressor you have. Thank you, Dr. Jen, for the rose. So what we recommend is immunolabs. So immunolabs, they will test for your IgE food allergies, instant anaphylactic. You eat a peanut, your throat swells up, you get hives. It's an instant reaction, but it's less than 1% of your immune system, but it could be life-threatening. You usually know if you have those before you get tested. So what we also test are your IgG food allergies. That's what a lot of people call food sensitivities, but they're not just a sensitivity. It is an immune reaction where your immune system is making antibodies against that food. It is activating 70 to 80% of your immune system. And most people don't know that they're even allergic to these foods because it's a delayed response. Maybe you ate kale and then 3 weeks later you got a migraine. Or maybe you're eating black pepper and then you feel anxiety that night. It isn't necessarily an instant reaction, but it is causing chronic inflammation, which is the leading cause of chronic disease here in the United States and across the world. So that is the one that we do recommend. Can you tell us general prices? So it depends on the labs that you need, and we can always guide you in the right direction there. We do have cash-based prices for our labs to keep them affordable. We can go anywhere from $50 to our most expensive panel, which is just under $400. But it's going to give us a ton of great information as far as what is stressing out your body. Been paleo for a month now for Hashimoto's. At what point do you feel better? So it depends on, why you're not feeling good. So why do you even have Hashimoto's in the first place is my first question. Is it simply that you were eating inflammatory foods? If so, and paleo is the right diet for you, it depends person to person, but usually in about 3 months, we should start to see inflammation really come down. However, you likely have more triggers than just those main foods of the sugar, the gluten, the dairy, those things that you're wanting to cut out on the paleo diet. That's why getting your food allergies tested is really important, because you could be eating inflammatory foods on the paleo diet. I was on the paleo diet for years before I found the Wellness Way. Sure, I felt better than I did on the standard American diet. However, I still had gut pain every single time I ate. I still felt tired. I still couldn't lose certain amount of weight after having my kids. And it's because I was eating foods that were inflammatory to me that were allowed on the paleo diet, like eggs. Highly allergic to eggs, causing inflammation every single time I ate them. Eating things like honey, even for people who aren't tolerating that honey, that sugar could be weighing you down as well. But then what else could be triggering that Hashimoto's? So what is Hashimoto's? That is where your immune system is making cells specifically designed to attack your thyroid. What causes that? Is that actually a thyroid issue? No, it's an immune system issue. Something is triggering your immune system to the point where now it thinks it needs to attack your thyroid. So we need to find out, what is that immune system trigger? Is it a gut infection? Are you living in a moldy environment? Did you get bit by a tick? Do you have a ton of mental stress? If you're not addressing those stressors and you're only focusing on that paleo diet, then you might not feel better. You may feel mildly better compared to standard American diet because some of your inflammation is going to come down, but you're not actually addressing that stressor. So if you're ready to figure out what has led to that Hashimoto's, we'd love to help you out. Go through that link in our bio, schedule that new patient appointment. We'd love to help you out. MMA, black coffee or coffee with milk, which is better? A lot of specific questions on food. Black coffee is, going to be better because if you're drinking cow dairy, that's in general inflammatory to everyone. So leave that milk out. You could do something like a coconut milk if you don't want straight black coffee. But again, if you're allergic to coconuts, then it's going to be inflammatory for you. Christina, I have Graves, hyperthyroid, Epstein-Barr, and Lyme all together. I'm sorry, Christina. That's really hard. So what that's telling me is that you likely got probably Epstein-Barr, like mono, or you got Lyme. And now your immune system is so hyper triggered from those things that it has led to that Graves process and has led to that hyperthyroid process. Now what we need to do is reduce that inflammation. We need to support your immune system because both Lyme and Epstein-Barr, thank you Escalade for those roses, really appreciate it. We need to support your immune system because Epstein-Barr virus and Lyme, yes, a lot of people have them, but they can lie dormant in your body for your whole life and not cause a problem if your immune system is functioning properly. Now, if your immune system is down, that's when they come out and they wreak havoc and your immune system is trying to attack, but it can lead to cellular change, especially in that thyroid where Epstein-Barr virus and Lyme like to lie dormant. When it starts to come out, your immune system is trying to attack the virus and the spirochete, and now you have that autoimmune process, which is affecting the function of your thyroid. You need to get your immune system tested. You also just need to do a good check-in on your thyroid, getting your T4 free and total tested, T3 free and total tested, your antibodies tested again. Get all of those things tested, get a good baseline, and we've got to address those immune triggers. So Christina, go through the link in our bio, schedule that new patient appointment with myself or Dr. Jen or Dr. Jared. We'd love to help you out. Lisa, you are welcome. User 09816, can food allergies cause bloating and IBS? I've been dealing with it for a while. Absolutely, those are some factors that can happen because when you have that leaky gut process and now those proteins have gone through to your bloodstream, your immune system's attacking it, causes that chronic inflammation, and that can cause inflammation within that upper digestion as well, can lead to bloating, can lead to IBS. Now, are those the only things that can cause it? No. We also need to think about, do you have an overgrowth or undergrowth of good bacteria? Because you could have too much of a good thing or too little of a good thing. Do you have a gallbladder? If you don't have a gallbladder, you guys, you need to be supplementing with some form of ox bile supplement to help with breaking down your fats because your gallbladder is so important. It is a sensory organ. It can tell when you're eating fatty foods and it's going to release the right amount of bile that's concentrated. If you don't have it anymore, your liver is just gradually seeping out bile throughout the day and night, and you're not going to be able to properly break down those fats. Also can lead to that bloating, can lead to more inflammation. Thinking about other things like eating processed foods. Maybe you're not allergic to things like sugar and cow dairy and gluten and seed oils, but they can cause a lot of that inflammation as well. But really, we don't know what's leading to your bloating and your IBS until we actually get you tested. So go through that link in our bio, get scheduled for a new patient appointment. We'd love to help you figure it out. You know, for me, my gas and bloating that I had years ago was related to my foods, but also it was related to infections I had. I had a few different bacterial infections and a yeast infection within my gut that I had no idea that I had, and I had to address those things before I could actually, you know, go through my day without having to deal with that bloating every time I ate. So you could have a reaction to food up to 30 days later. Yes, so chronic inflammation. So that those antibodies from that IgG reaction can last in your body up to 30 days later. So it can cause that chronic inflammation. Christina, Epstein-Barr virus can cause Christina, I was trying to see if I could find the rest of your comment, but I don't see it. User 6599, you should see a gastroenterologist for those symptoms. So gastroenterologists, what they will do, so medicine, they are going to look for an emergency situation. That is what medicine does, because you have to think of the tools that they have to help you. If you go to your gastroenterologist, they have medications and they have surgery, and guess what those things come with? Risks and side effects. So they are not going to use those things unless they really have to. So they are looking for those emergency situations where you need to use those things. They're not looking for where do you need to be for proper function. Oh, you have a little bit of gas and bloating. Oh, you have a little bit of IBS. So like you get diarrhea and constipation. Well, they're not going to want to use a medication on you that has potentially really big side effects if it's not a medical necessity. And that's good. That's what I want that medicine there for, is for those emergency situations where they need to save your life. But when it comes to function, they don't have the tools for that. So they're not going to test for function. They're just going to test for what they have. What about chronic constipation? You need to have a daily bowel movement. If you're not having a daily bowel movement, that means that you're going to be recycling toxins, causing more and more inflammation within your body. Now,